HTM pack training. I was excited. All right, the reason we're doing this is because we're trying to get everybody knowledgeable in training on, or knowledgeable on how to pack these boxes. Obviously, most of you move, but moving forward, I need all of you to know how to do this so that we can put more pack teams together and packs in place, because they're really important. So kind of how I'm going to start this is I want you guys to imagine, so when you walk into a house ready to move and you see the most prepared house and you call us, the leads are like, wow, this house is really prepared. I want you to imagine what that looks like in terms of boxes and how they're packed. I know a lot of you come in and you can see your smalls are stacked, your mediums are stacked, everything's kind of like in specific places to where you guys can come up, dolly it, and take it out. That is my ultimate goal when I leave a house to prep it for you all, is that I can have all those boxes organized. So when you come in, oh, you know where everything is, kind of in a way of however, when you're doing your walkthrough, you can grab a box and take it out, or just that it's easy to access the home in general. Because sometimes what I've found is when people pack boxes, you just kind of throw boxes all over the place. And the key is to organize it and get it ready and prepped for the move. So with that, I want to talk about all of our boxes. We did some rearranging, as you guys all know. So this area has become the box area. I'm also going to be getting another one for all of our art boxes that'll go here, but that should be here soon. Basically, I just want to go over all the boxes that we have. These are wardrobes. Everybody's seen these. We all have used them. They're fun. They're big. And we pack closets with those. We have our wardrobe bars here that go with them. We'll go down the line here. We have dish packs. Funny thing about dish packs, they look really similar to art boxes. As you can see, I find a lot of you trying to get these when you think they're art boxes because they kind of look similar. But once you pack them enough times, you kind of just see the differences in them. But that's, down the road once you get to packing. So we have dish packs. We have extra larges, smalls, mediums. This is our packing paper. Most of all of our boxes come from U-Haul or they come from Uline. The ones that say U-Haul on them are obviously our U-Haul boxes. Up here we have backup paper pads, and then we have pink, which is for monitors, which I'll show you guys later. And then I have started taking the paper pads out and putting them here. The reason I did that is, one, it saves a little space. Two, it's so much easier for me. I know there's 5 per pack in these, and I can just grab them and put them in a lot easier than getting a box that's falling apart and then having to dispose of that later. This is just way easier for transporting it inside a house. And then we have our art boxes. We have 6 kinds of art boxes, 6 sizes of art boxes, I guess I should say. So there's two different kinds. You have what's called a FOH. I think it's called an FOH. I'm saying that wrong. Basically, it's a box that you can close on the top and you can close it on the bottom. So as you can see, if I fold this up, I can tape this, put it together on this end, and I can tape it on this end. So you would tape an end, and you're going to use the other side for putting artwork in, close it up. So you want it flush. So when you're using one like this, I have 2 like that. Actually, we have 3. I have this size. It's a little thicker. As you can see, we have this one. It's a little thinner right there, but taller, so you can get some higher, bigger pieces in. And then we have this little guy, which we have had forever, which is kind of nice for, sometimes we put clocks in these, like all those awkward shaped wall clocks that are kind of weird. These are great for little things like that, or just smaller pieces of art. And then we have what's called the telescoping, and we have 3 sizes of those. This is the one I use more than anything. And this is for your big arts. This is the ones you guys see most of the time when you come in. And so these only tape up on one side, which is the difference from those where tape up on both sides. So these you can just fit a lot in. I know they get pretty heavy, but these are for the big pieces of art that we can stick in. If there's a piece of art that's larger than this, you guys will notice I leave it for you. And that means you're going to be putting it in a pad and stretch wrapping it the best you can. because that's the only way to transport it. Unless they're going long distance and it seems like a really high-end piece of art, then we need to be putting cardboard on it somehow to protect it. So if there's glass on it, same thing you would do with a mirror, which is why you see mirrors left behind. They're usually because I can't lift them and it's too heavy and I need the strength to put it, I wouldn't be able to put it in a box this big. Or I know they're not going very far and you guys can wrap it fairly quickly. Is the reason that you'll see those mirrors laying there. This is another one where it's a telescoping. So it's got there's always a smaller and a bigger end. And sometimes it can be confusing when you're looking at them, but there's always going to be an emblem and then an S number. And this is a match. So there's that size. And then we also have this size, which is just a little bit smaller as well. Same thing, S size. And then you've got your little Uline emblem. And all the sizes are on these too. But it's always going to have an S match that goes with it. And once I get this set up, I'm going to label it really nice when we actually get it. They're all next door right now, but once I get that big art thing I ordered, you'll be able to see the different sizes and know which ones to get. Packing supply lists. So the leads will be using these most of the time, but this is what you're going to have in the morning. And there's going to be, on my estimate, it's going to say what and how many materials we estimated them to bring. Now there's kind of a weird formula on how to do this. I just started kind of working on a process of different levels of moves and then what and how much of each box that you're going to bring. And so this will kind of vary, but you'll write down when you're collecting boxes to put them in the van, you're going down this list. How many dish packs, smalls, medium, larges, extra larges, wardrobes, bars. There's mattress bags on here and stretch wraps. Sometimes you use that on a pack. And then you've got your art boxes, which I'm going to change this up a little bit and do the different sizes. And then you've got brown paper pads. Our brown paper pads here, these ones, we do not charge extra for these if they're going in an art box. So our art box price includes these. So the only time we charge for these paper pads is if I use them on a lamp or something different that's awkward. Sometimes you guys will show up and there'll be a brown paper. Like sometimes lamp shades are too big to fit in any of our boxes. So we'll wrap them in one of those and y'all just know to put top load. I'll write top load on it or just know that it goes where it can't get smushed. So basically, oh, and then we have our tape. This is our pack bag. And this has all the handy dandy things. We have a little one and then we have a big one. But we have two types of tape. We have the paper tape, which is used with the paper pads. And then we have our regular Uline brown tape. This is our everyday tape we use for all our boxes. Occasionally I'll get a clear tape, the Scotch stuff. You'll see that in here sometimes, but I've tried so many different types of tape and this is the style that I like. Always open to feedback on that. But so this is the bag. I keep paper tape, which we get from U-Haul, and Uline tape, which is the brown everyday. I also keep these little lollipops in here because we use them sometimes for little stuff. They're kind of nice. You guys are used to the big ones. And then I have some fragile stickers in here for China and different stuff. Sometimes if we're doing wine, I'll use that for wine. And then we have our tape guns. Right now, I'm going to order more of these. Oh, and then we have the markers. There's like a ton of markers. Markers. There should always be scissors in here. And then there's also the little X-Acto knives in here too. These blue ones, I'm going to order a bunch more, but these are the ones that are my babies. They're pretty easy. You just put this in here, pull it, and it comes right off. You know, you guys will see me use it. We've got this one too. This one has kind of like a little angle on it, so you can angle it. And that one's fun too. That's Megan's favorite one. She likes this one. So I'll be ordering a bunch more of these. We tend to lose them sometimes or leave them behind, but so as a lead, when you're coming in as a lead packer, the most important thing and the way I set it up and the way my brain sets it up is I'm doing a walkthrough with somebody. Typically, I've either been to the house already because I've done their estimate, but also it's important to, when you're doing these walkthroughs, you're making mental notes of, okay, this is the kitchen. Basically, the way I set all these packs up is kitchen, art, and then sweep. So Kitchens are what take the longest out of any and every pack in any house, unless they've, for some reason, dialed down to 4 plates and 4 glasses and 4 bowls. That's what's going to take you the longest on any pack. So when I go through, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put one person in here that I know is trained, and they're going to be in that kitchen all day. The other thing is I look at the art. How many? Is there more than 20 pieces of framed art of various size, colors, thickness, all that stuff? And then I'm going to put somebody on art. And then that third person, if needed, will be what I call a sweep. Typically, it's me that does the sweep. The sweep can kind of be the most important only because I'm going room to room and I'm putting each thing together based on the largest thing I see first. So basically you want to walk into a room and see the most difficult thing in the room, and you want to start with that. Even though you think, oh, that's going to be really annoying and it's going to take me probably an hour. That's the first thing. It's the same way you guys should do moves. If it's a safe, you guys should do that shit first. And I know that it doesn't seem that way on every job, but the hardest things, mostly because you can't access them sometimes. I understand that there is a way to load the truck and all of that as well, but when you show up to a move and there's a note on there like this looks really difficult, do it first. Because when you guys are 4 hours in and you're exhausted, that's the last thing you're going to want to do. Or the first thing you're going to damage if you wait forever to do it because you're tired. So that's the way I look at packs, is I come in and I'm like, oh, that vase over there that's 150 years old is going to suck and be very difficult and it's terrifying to touch. But I'm going to start with that first and get it done. And then it kind of makes the rest of the flow of the entire house go. Now, the levels I have with packing are, and you guys will see this a lot, where I'll just go out and do a kitchen. Or there's a kitchen in art. Or there's a kitchen art closet and a few bedroom dressers. Or there's a kitchen art office monitors, like the one you guys did the other day, where it was everything. And then you'll get one with there's everything, and then there's a full pack garage. Talking, you guys come in, you see all these in the garage, and it is covered with stuff, loose stuff. So there's when you go into a garage, there's chowder, which you guys know, which is what I leave. So basically, if it's something big, awkward that I know you guys can just put on a truck, which is most of the time in the garage, that's what I'm going to be leaving for you guys. If there's chemicals on this one, paints, all that annoying stuff we don't take, that either gets left or I put it into small boxes and I label it liquids that do not go, which you guys probably see that a lot of times when you show up in the kitchen, any of that. I tell every customer, if you want, my guys will help put those in your car for you, but they can't go on the truck. So just know that it's a polite thing to do just to help them, because sometimes those are heavy and awkward and annoying, those little small boxes. But then you're going to have, the balls, the helmets, the shoes, the random just crap everybody throws in their garage. That stuff is so easy to just throw into an extra large and a large, take and put. If they haven't organized it and I haven't necessarily been able to get to that stuff, because my main goal is getting the kitchen and all the other stuff inside packed and organized, the breakable stuff. That's why I leave those garages for you guys sometimes, because that's stuff you can put in a speed pack or you can throw in an extra large or large, which is why I always want you guys having those boxes on there. And I do my best to try and update that and say, make sure you bring a few boxes for this stuff, or, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, so we're walking to a room and we're going to look for the hardest thing. So basically I'm going to start with some kitchen stuff here. So the dish packs. These are dish packs. So say I come in, I'm doing a kitchen. I pull everything out of it. Sometimes, like Megan, for instance, she'll pull everything out, which I also like to do, because then you get to see what's in there. Because you'll find that sometimes a pantry is going to have all those little small appliances, your toaster ovens, crock pots. Some people just have 5 different crock pots. I think I packed one in the house the other day that had 5 crock pots. The main thing is being able to visually look at this like a puzzle. So you guys have done a puzzle before. Look at this and say, wow, what's my biggest thing here? My biggest, most awkward thing. The reason I ask this is because when you think about the box, you got to think about, okay, what goes in this way? What can go in this way? It's a puzzle. It's like Tetris. So I'm going to put this together really quick for us. I put my thing over there. So I usually look for this little emblem and put that on the bottom. if we use a used box, I'll put that used piece and do it like this because it just gives it a little extra nice side there. Because when you're putting tape over tape, it doesn't always hold as well. Put this here and goes down. Typically, you just need one piece. Sometimes if it's used, I'll just put an extra little one here and an extra little one here just to reinforce it. Because as you guys know, I fill these and make them pretty heavy. All right, so we have all these boxes over here. This is called Crush. This is recycled paper. You always want to start with a layer on the bottom. So you're going to throw a bunch of this in there, kind of loosely. And you're going to make it kind of look like that. So it's kind of loose. You guys see it? Kind of loose. And this is going to be your layering system. So looking at this pile here, I'm going to think of weight and I'm going to think of awkwardness. So typically if there's baking pans, long things, long platters, I do start with those first. So what I do is I think, oh, this has this weird shape on it, but it fits really well in this one. So what I'll do is take this, and I'm going to take two pieces of paper, and I'm going to layer that on top. Feels a little wonky. So then I think, I don't know if I like that. I really want it to be flush. I'll do one more piece. I'm going to get as much around it, covering all the sides, and that one's going to go in long ways, like that. I'm going to put it up against, and this is kind of me just starting a layering system. Then I'll do this one next. Sometimes you can turn it sideways like you do a pad when you guys are packing. I typically put them on their side up, long ways, because you'll find that it's not going to fit this way. So I always put them up like this. And sometimes you don't need to be afraid of using too much paper. You just cover it up, and I'm going to slide it in there right next to this. And then you see how you heard that plate kind of hit it? You just want to make sure that it is so tight next to that other platter that it's not going to move, which will take a while because I have to get this in. So then I'm looking at the rest of this and I think, okay, those are pretty heavy. I could potentially put this in with it too, but I think, you know what, I think I'm going to save these two for my next box. But these are light. You see they fell over, which will happen, but it's okay because I wrapped it so nicely that it's fine. So this is really light. It's long. It's awkward. It's not necessarily going to get scratched, but I put paper on it anyway because the main thing is making sure you have enough padding between everything that it simplifies things in terms of movement. So this one I'm going to put next to these platters, and that kind of like pushes them in. And I'll show you guys this in a second. I'll look at it. It's looking a little awkward there. This is weird and awkward, but we're going to wrap it anyway. I love wrapping those because they're easy. And it just slides right in. So right now I'm just puzzling my base in, but also thinking about weight. So now I'm looking at my pile here and I'm thinking, what else is light? Kind of can go long. I'll throw this in here. It's got a little pan on it. Pans scratch easily, so I always put a little bit of extra paper no matter what. This one has this as a little padding, so I just kind of do a light layer like this. And I'm going to start a second layer here. I'm kind of doing like a box form here. And looking at my pile here, I'm going to start going up probably with some bowls, some mugs, something like that. So I'm looking here and I'm thinking those plates are kind of heavy. I want to keep my base heavy still because I don't have a lot of light stuff here. This is light. And then mugs, they do get heavy, but they're typically considered a little lighter. So I'm going to do these plates on the bottom. So with plates, This size, you can do up to 4 in one layer, but I don't want any more than 4 plates. If you have 3 really large plates, I wonder if I have any over here, like these, I don't want any more than 3 of these. They're very heavy, so you'll put 3 or 4 small, 3 large or 4 small. So you're gonna put a plate down, you're gonna layer it with a piece of paper, and you're gonna put another plate. Typically you'll have these just sitting there on the table though. And you're gonna put another layer. And then you're gonna do one more layer. Or just one more layer. Then you have a little excess over here, so I just wrap it, make sure all sides are covered, and you've got your little bundle there of plates. And each layer has paper in it.
Did you mean that you didn't want more than how many, like, per bundle?
Yeah, per bundle. So no more, this is the max of small plates I want like this in a bundle.
So if you have like a dozen, you'll just make 3.
Yep, you'll make 3 of each, yeah. Plates always go, they don't always have to go this way, but I typically put them this way. I would prefer you guys to do it this way. You'll find more room. And the fact that I already have these platters kind of going this way, I'm gonna keep layering them that way on the base. So we'll put these down that way. We'll go ahead and do these 2. We'll do 1, 2, 3. 3 of these. Boom. That's your bundle. And I've found that it works best if you're going the same way with the plate. Okay. What else do I want to do? The bowls, we're going to do the same way. 3 max typically. Sometimes there's really thick ones. Sometimes there's really big ones. You can kind of use your best judgment. If it looks big and fragile, I try to do 1 or 2 max together. But these little ones, you can kind of go do the same thing as plates this way. 1. These have these little edges on them that'll break pretty easy. So that's another thing of making sure that they're kind of the opposite way. Those ones will break off. Same thing. You got your bundle there, and these will go in the bottom. Basically, right now I'm layering. What I'm doing in between these is I'm putting paper. So once I get this base layer, so say I do 4 more of those plates, and I have the plates and the bowls, I'm gonna stuff the top of it and make a layer. So you guys can see, I did layer of plates, layer of bowls, and then I stuffed the top of it, right? This is staying tight, this is staying tight, everything's staying really tight. So then I've got another layer of what I can put on top of that. I'm gonna start thinking lightly. I could use mugs, or I can use these wonderful things, which are awkward. So these things are, any type of glassware we have works really best as one of the last things you do at the top of a box. Oftentimes I'll do like plates, some water glasses, and then these kind of sit flush, and I can do a full line of these at the top, if that makes sense. Don't be afraid to put these in a box like this. A lot of people think they need to use these dish packs. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to go over. These boxes right here are called dish packs. These are called dish barrels. We still call these dish packs. I don't know why. I think it's just because that's all I ever use. We do not use these. Unless someone requests them, they're really expensive. They are very time consuming. And we can do the same thing in these boxes that these are used for. But people, when I tell people to get dish packs, they think they are these. So they'll go to U-Haul and buy these. These come with those little inserts. So y'all have probably seen them, like the wine glasses just go right in the inserts, which works fine. But for us, in terms of packing, to pack one of those will take twice as much time than packing this, and you get the same effect that you need to protect everything in these. So for these, you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to put bubble on these. You don't have to do anything other than double wrap them. So what I do, I put them on the side, I go on the base, up, down, really light, just like that. You're gonna do one more, 1, 2, 3, and around. That's a lot. Always, always, always this goes up. You never put this on its side. It's always gonna go up. So then I'm gonna do another one. And this is how I do it just because it's easier, because you're holding it like that. You grab the stem, cover it lightly, around like that. The goal is to make sure that it's so dense it's not really touching anything else. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna hit anything. I wanna show you guys the layer and the way this looks. So see how it's still a little loose in here? See how that is loose? You have a little, this is your martini glasses, they're a little bit bigger. I stuck a few of these in here. Glassware is a lot more forgiving than you actually think it is. I think it's kind of scary for a lot of us because it's glass. And unless you're Nate, you might knock it off the counter. So looking at this, you've got your platters here, right? They're a little loose. You've got this. I would probably fit 2 more things in here. And then what I do, so if I didn't have any more glasses, I'd take some crush and I'd stick it in here like this. So see, that's really tight in there. And then I'm gonna put another layer on there. Layer, layer, layer. You're gonna layer. You're gonna put so much on top of that. And then from here, I'm gonna find the lightest thing I have, which is probably this. Even that is fine to put on top of these glasses. It's not gonna hurt it. You could even put a couple mugs. It's all about how much padding you put in between these. But when you've got this awkward stuff, it's important to start with this because then you'll find yourself at the end, if you wait to do this hard stuff, these platters or awkward stuff, you'll find that's all you have left. And then you're like, how do I put this in a box when I have all this wrap? Like what size box? You'll just find that it messes with your head a little bit. So does that make sense for everybody? How that works? Also, these freezer paper and parchment paper things are very annoying. So I always want to point those out. They work really well if you turn them this way in a box versus they're not going to fit in very many boxes long ways. They fit in this one, but they either need to go down or this way. But basically, you guys get the gist. It's about puzzling it together, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of that paper, which is why, and if we don't have any of this, then you just take this, crumple it up. You always do, you know, the base, it's always about using a ton of this stuff. I'm gonna pretend that's flush, but, okay. So we've got it packed. I'm gonna put some tape on it, across. I usually do 1, but again, if it's a used box, just throw a couple extra pieces on there just because they're used. And the top doesn't matter as much as the bottom, but just usually I put 1. This tape, if you go over tape, will come off, I've noticed. So I try to do them not on top of each other. So 1 here, 1 there, 1 there. So anyway, I close that up. I got my little marker here. Nate and I have had a lot of conversations about how we want this done. But we decided last night that this is how it's gonna happen. So because it's used, what I'm gonna do is I see master and I know it's from kitchen. This tape's great because it covers it right up. I'm gonna cover that up. And cover any writing on it that you see that has anything wonky needs to be covered up. So now I know it's the kitchen. So the way I want this done, I want you to put the room on top. Write it anywhere. I do it, actually, not anywhere. Do it in the left upper corner of the box. So if you're looking at it, it's in this corner right here. You're going to write the name of it. And then underneath it, you're going to write what's in it. So I put large platters. And then we had plates. And then we had, I usually call it bar glassware. You don't have to go into detail with martini glasses. You can if you want, but I just do a basic overview. So we have large platters, plates, bar glassware, kitchen here, description what's in it, and then I want where it's going on the side. So that's kitchen.